Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Welcome to Chai with Rohema. And today, on this evening's program, we are celebrating the Japan Festival at Chillington Castle in next weekend, actually on Bank Holiday weekend. So my guest with me today is Naomi Cullings, and also with me Sachiko Pierce. The relationship between Japan and Bangladesh has been very long-standing. It's actually quite historic and has gone on for centuries. So it's very, welcome to the show, Sachiko. Welcome to the show, Naomi.
Thank you.
So it's only therefore right that we should be promoting all different kinds of cultures, but particularly interested in the festival that's taking place at Chillington Castle. If I can please just welcome you and introduce you, Sachiko. You are a specialist Japanese arts specialist. Perhaps you'd like to tell us a little bit about your work and your arts, and then I can perhaps bring in then Naomi to talk a little bit about Chillington Castle and why they're holding the festival.
Yes, thank you, Rohema. Well, I present a Japanese tea ceremony and also a comprehensive art within the tea ceremony, because basically the calligraphy comes into the part of the art, and also a flower arrangement comes into this. So I am showing the principle of our meditative tea ceremony and the Senrikyu's idea of how to live, the way of cha.
That's wonderful. And obviously, Bangladesh also has a long history with tea.
Yes.
And I understand one of our colleagues will also be with you on the day. But what we'd like to know is, obviously the Japan Festival being held next Sunday,
yes,
between 11 and 5 p.m.
Yes.
I noticed on the program there is so much more to obviously Japanese traditions and traditional arts, not just the calligraphy and obviously the tea, and you're wearing a most beautiful kimono today, and we thank you for wearing your traditional costume. We we love tradition, and we love being able to just all come together in one. But you also do a lot about the other traditions, so it's not just the calligraphy and the tea and the kimonos, but it's also, you have a lot of other things, the drums,
yes,
and also martial arts in itself. So it should be such a wonderful day. I'm really looking forward to next Sunday to celebrate this with the festival with you. Once again, I'll go on about how Japan and Bangladesh has, had a wonderful friendship that's lasted from centuries, and has also been born, has a rebirth when Bangladesh gained its independence. And they work very, very closely. And bilateral trade, both economical and social, development has been one of the key things both Bangladesh, Britain, and Japan has sought after. Naomi, please let me just welcome you to the show. As curator for Chillington Castle, welcome. And it's wonderful to know that you are holding such festivals, and you also have a wonderful collection.
Yes.
Perhaps a Japanese room with a wonderful collection.
Yes.
So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about why this is taking place at Chillington Castle, and if it's an annual event, or how this came about, because we'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, definitely. So Chillington Castle is a historic house, and the last private owner was really fascinated with art and collecting and auctions and so on. So he travelled around the country buying things and collecting anything he could find to do with Japan, Egypt, Buddhism and English history. So those are the four main areas he was interested in. So each year we try and do an event related to one of the collections. So we have a Japanese event, a Japanese festival this year, in celebration of the Japanese collection and also the Tokyo Olympics. and then we'll have an Egyptian day next year and so on. So
that's wonderful, and again, I mean, Cheddington Castle is just a little bit about it.
Yeah.
So as you said, it has a Japanese room, it has an Egyptian room, it has, it does focus on many different sectors of ancient history, and it's I love to see on the pictures there was this beautiful casket, Japanese casket. I mean, and for those who are interested in just international festivals and history and traditions, I think this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for you to bring your families, wives and children. It's a wonderful place to bring your families. There's so much going on. Sachiko, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about the activities that are going on during the day.
Yes, well, which one shall I start with? Because so many of them. But perhaps I would like to mention about giant calligraphy, because the lady, Akemi Lucas, she is a very well-known artist in England, and recently she has produced a wonderful work for Team GB for Tokyo Olympics, and also 2019 she was asked to do a huge logo for their reception, and perhaps if people go on the website of hers they can have a look. But certainly we are very honored to have her in our Japan Festival, aren't we? So she will be able to show with a huge brush paint, and she's a very slim lady, and yet I do not know how she carries this big brush paint, but she produced a wonderful work. So that's one of them.
Yes, that's really lovely, because calligraphy has its place in all our cultures, particularly in the Islamic culture. We are very the calligraphy is something of Arabic nature, but with Japan calligraphy, again, it's very telling. It's very it's such a beautiful expression of culture and of spoken word, and I think it's really beautiful. And you also not just the exhibitions with the drums and the young martial artists, but an archery.
Yes.
I mean, we're in for a feast of a time at this festival. And again, Cheddington Castle. That's in Kent, isn't it? It's around Tunbridge?
Yeah, it's not too far from Tunbridge Wells or Sevenoaks. It's easy to get to by car. It is kind of tucked away in the countryside amongst sort of beautiful views and beautiful surroundings. So I guess we always think of ourselves as a bit of a hidden gem. You have to sort of discover us down some country lanes. But yeah, not far from those two, yeah.
So do you have festivals frequently?
Yeah, so we have a variety of events. For example, just last week we had a vintage fair, and then we do, as I say, have a sort of a collections-related event once a year. So next year we're hoping for the 100-year anniversary of Tutankhamun's tomb being discovered. We're hoping to celebrate Egypt and our Egyptian collection with a specific day next year. So yeah, we do sort of once a year.
That's fantastic,
yeah.
And hopefully we'll be able to have a festival of Bangladesh being held at Cheddington Castle in some time in the future, and celebrate that too. I mean, I want to just congratulate you for putting it together, because it's no mean feat. It's not easy to put all these collections together, but you've done a wonderful job of offering the most amazing program of events, and all with specialists that have come from all around the country and internationally. So this is wonderful. Obviously, Sachiko, you do a lot around talking about the tradition of the kimono. Perhaps you'd like to share a little bit with us?
Yes, sure. Well, quite often I am asked to produce a kimono. For example, a month ago I was involved with a commercial production of the one particular drink, and I had to go to Tatton Park for this, and dressing a model lab in a Japanese costume, but we have to often think how the kimono stands out against the nature or against the surrounding color. And also often a Japanese wedding in England, and not necessarily Japanese couples. Often I am asked to help non-Japanese people for a wedding in kimono. And also recently I had to go to Canterbury for a young lady. She was finishing her secondary education, and
we're just about to go to break. Viewers, if you please stay with us, and when we come back from the break, we'll continue with our discussion. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Chai with Rohema. Just before we went to the adverts, Sachiko was giving us a little bit of information about the kimono, the traditions, and what we'll be able to see at the festival. Once again, Sachiko, if you'd like to just go over a little bit about the kimono and the history of it, because I know that you are very well, versed about the kimono, and also, as you mentioned just before, you were in the production of the kimono. I mean, the designs in itself are so intricate and so varied, and it's a beautiful kimono. Perhaps you wouldn't mind standing up and just give us a little look.
Shall I swirl around?
Yeah, swirl around. That's beautiful, thank you.
Not at all.
Okay, so if you'd like to give our viewers, who I'm sure are very interested in knowing about the traditions of the kimono, and please do continue
yes.
as before.
Thank you, Rohema. Well, on 29th of August 2021, next weekend, on Sunday, we are going to have this wonderful Japan festival. I will be displaying Japanese wedding uchikake, tsukesage as a visiting kimono, and also furisode for young lady with a long sleeves, and also there are a few totally different designs with embroidery, woven material, all on the special desk. So even though Japan Festival is only on Sunday, if you cannot come on Sunday, you're welcome to come on Monday. I will be there. If you have any question, I'm happy to answer your question.
That's wonderful. That is great. Is there a particular age as to when you start wearing the kimono? Or, in Japan, what is the traditional, wearing of the kimono? Do they start at a particular age? Is it for just young? Is there a time when you stop wearing the kimono?
Well, in fact, we have a Japanese custom. It's called Shichigo-san, age 7, 5, and 3. We dress them up because, just like christening, many years ago, children did not survive, so we usually dress children up and take them to the shrine. That custom is still there, so that is a special occasion. Normal clothes, I'm afraid people are not wearing kimono anymore. Maybe on the graduation day, for wedding or special reception. So I'm afraid traditional costume, it's not as common as they used to be.
All the more reason to keep it alive with this festival. Naomi, I'm going to come back to you because I'd like you to tell us a little bit more about the Japan room, the Japanese room,
yes.
that was the collection.
Yes.
By the late owner, I understand that there is quite a few artifacts there that are of great significance. Please, could you just expand on that?
Yeah, so the Japanese room is filled with objects that really showcase Japanese craftsmanship, so the amazing detail and the beautiful materials. And the last private owner collected mostly things related to the samurai warriors, and also Japanese lacquer wares. So lacquer is made from a type of Japanese tree sap, and then they sprinkle gold powder on the surface to make it very sort of luxurious, golden boxes and items for the upper classes. And we do have this one object which is really fascinating. It's a casket, so it might have been used for jewels or jewellery, and it is really, really rare. There's only 2 in the world of that type of object, so it's really beautiful, and people can come and see it on the Japan Festival. Yes, the Japanese room will be open 11 till 5 p.m. as well, and I'll be giving some talks. So yeah, come and ask me some questions as well, and I can tell you all about the...
Of course, we tend to forget, don't we? I mean, Japanese traditional traditions, and also the Festival of Japan, it doesn't just involve kimonos and the most beautiful handcrafted work that you'll find anywhere in the world, but it also has its roots deep into things like martial arts, and so there will be martial art displays. So kendo and the
Kyudo. Kendo is the Japanese fencing with bamboo sword. Kyudo is Japanese archery.
Oh, fantastic! So we have Japanese archery and also fencing, and we have young martial artists as well. I understand that will also be displaying, doing an exhibition and display.
Yeah, so the Kendo group is a mixture of ages, so they do it from quite a young age, and there'll be a mixture of ages demonstrating on the day.
That's so exciting. You mentioned about having on show a sword. Is that from the samurai period?
Yeah, so we have quite a few swords on display in the Japanese room. We also have an amazing giant sword. So yes, that was from the samurai era in Japan. It was probably not made to be used in battle, however. It's very decorative. There's a dragon on the hilt, and it's far too big for one person to sort of lift and use. So it was probably more as a decoration. But yes, again, people can come and see that on the day.
That's wonderful, because we're always looking for something to broaden the minds of our youngsters, educational, so to know about other traditions, and and to bring them in to see what is around and what's been collated, because actually these are treasures that have been held for centuries, and here you are being able to put them on display. And bonsai.
Yes.
You have bonsai a display in the orangery, I believe, of the castle. And what a wonderful! And if you've never been to Chiddingstone Castle or have never heard of it, it's certainly worth a visit. It's approximately an hour outside of London, near Tunbridge Wells, and it really is worth a visit for many reasons. But because this festival is going on, I think we're always looking to the ways in which to expand the children's minds and to give them a little bit of education on cultures. And this is a really great opportunity for you to take a family to visit. You'll find something there, whether it's the archery, whether it's the calligraphy, or the kimonos, or the bonsai, or the martial arts. There is definitely something for everyone. And the reason we feel very proud to promote the Japan Festival is not only because it brings cultures together, and it's a very good way of expanding one's understanding of different cultures and knowledge, but also I feel it's a great opportunity here to look at traditions of the past that we can learn from. I mean, the bonsai in itself, it's been one of the most amazing feats of that I can think of. Even as a young child, like most other people, we watched the Karate Kid and it featured a bonsai, and how special that was. And I think that was probably the first time I understood what a bonsai tree was. So how long have you had bonsai at the Chiddingstone Castle?
So we do have grounds. We don't actually have bonsai in the grounds itself, but we do have this gentleman who collects bonsai. He also collects this type of rock called suiseki, which means it's a type of stone garden basically. So it's small, beautifully shaped rocks chosen for their kind of interesting features. One might look like a dragon, or one might look like a mountain, for example. So he's going to bring all those and display them in our Victorian orangery. So it'll be Japanese traditional garden mixed with Victorian grounds in this sort of country house setting. So it will be a great combination.
Unique, wonderful opportunity to bring this all together. I mean, Mr. Chico, if you were to say, I know you with the kimono, you're a specialist of these arts and the calligraphy and the arts. But if you were to say to someone who isn't very much aware of your traditions, culture, or understanding, what would you say to them to entice them to come and visit the festival? Because for me, it's a no-brainer. Everybody should come and learn a little bit more about other people's customs and festivals, because I think it's important that we have an understanding with each other. And once again, I mean, Japan has always supported Bangladesh, and even throughout COVID, it's supplied and supported Bangladesh with COVID vaccines, and it's once again on its social and economic growth. It's a key, it's one of the key agents, one of the key countries, if not the key partner for Bangladesh, and our friendship has, developed and grown for so long, and obviously Japan is very technical. So it's wonderful that we can put these three beautiful countries and have something like this, where we can say, okay, look, you need to learn more. Here's an opportunity, and it's a fascinating opportunity. I look forward to coming on Sunday, next Sunday. But again, I would like to ask you, what would you say that would entice somebody to come and visit?
Well, I would like to say, seeing is believing. There are, let's say, Japanese music, traditional music, Japanese dance, and all the ladies, they are wearing a kimono just like me. There are other activities, such as for young people, perhaps they would like to try origami. There is a section for that.
Origami, yes.
And also, maybe as a family, the father may want to try rice wine. Ozeki company is providing the rice wine tasting. And also there is a special London tea exchange, Japanese Emperor's tea. Yeah. This is so special. I hope people will not miss this opportunity.
Yes, Sheikh Ali Rahman from the London Tea Exchange. He is also will be there at the festival with the Empress Tea, and bringing along a new drink called uji matcha, which again is something that is a wonderful combination of both uji, mango and matcha, and it's a really nice, it's a wonderful opportunity for people to have a look and try some of the tea tasting. You yourself will be doing a tea ceremony, a traditional Japanese tea ceremony.
Yes.
I mean, what an opportunity! Origami, drums, tea tasting. What an opportunity for a family when you're looking for somewhere to go, looking for something to do, and on top of that, seeing the delights of Chiddingstone Castle and what it has to offer. And the delights that it has to offer, and particularly, we're expecting some good weather, thank goodness. So it should be really good weather. So the grounds will be open, and the grounds will be open. So for us to have a look, and a lot of these activities, including the archery, will be taking place on the ground. So we're just going to another break. I will once again ask you, please stay with us, stay tuned, and I look forward to seeing you shortly. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. On this evening's program, we've been talking about the Japan Festival at the Chuddingstone Castle next weekend, and my two guests have kindly come in to talk about the festival and also about Chuddingstone Castle. If I could come back to you, Naomi, and ask you, one of the things that's always impressed me is the craftsmanship. And I understand that Chuddingstone Castle is set amongst 35 acres of land, and on the outskirts is a beautiful village, which is a must view. But not only that, I think within the castle itself, the actual artifacts, the actual pieces of artwork is something one must see. But also you'll be having some craft stalls at the event that will be obviously selling some different items. And of course we have the London Tea Exchange. London Tea Exchange has will be also there, and they are putting out the Empress tea for tasting, but also they will be distributing the uji matcha tea, which is a great drink with matcha and mango, and that will be free for those who are attending. But let me come back to you, Naomi. Naomi, if you could please tell us a little bit more about the craftsmanship and what's on offer, and what will be at the festival itself.
Yeah, so the idea with the Japan Festival really was to combine traditional Japanese culture with English historic house setting. So we'll have the amazing objects and artifacts on display in the Japanese room, so lacquerwares, samurai arms and armour, samurai helmets and so on, but then combined that with contemporary Japanese design products. So we have this wonderful company called Nimi Projects who are going to be taking over one of the historic house rooms and filling it with their beautiful design wares for people to buy on the day. And we do have other stalls like a kimono stall selling accessories made from vintage kimono fabric and so on, so people can view the traditional Japanese artifacts in the Japanese room and then buy a few things for themselves as well to start their own collection.
And there's, as we said, there's a kimono exhibition taking place in at Chuddingstone Castle, which is also something that I think for us young ladies we're very happy to see.
Yes.
And so again, Sachiko, please tell us a little bit more about just the calligraphy and the importance of the of that within the festival.
Yes. Well, for example, for tea ceremony, normally we have a scroll with a seasonal flower or the poetry or some written Japanese word or Chinese character sometimes to show the meaning of the host or hostess of the tea ceremony. And also, because we are actually presenting tea ceremony outside in the rose garden, we cannot have a scroll. However, I'm going to have a special one called a Tanzaku box, which has the Japanese poetry and showing the season of summer. Yes. So to us, the calligraphy is more than just writing Japanese letters. There is more season and the meaning of the letters.
So very educational.
Yes.
I mean, you're not going to come to the festival and leave without learning something of something. It's really wonderful. One thing I found was interesting was the taiko drums. I mean, it's so rich in, Japanese culture is so rich in its traditions, but and the taiko drums, we've often heard. And there'll also be, there'll be lots of performers. So I'm looking forward to that. Perhaps there is a certain time. So if you do go on the website, perhaps you could tell them what the website is and where they can find some more information and how they may buy, how our viewers may buy tickets.
Yeah, so the website is chiddingstonecastle.org.uk, and if you head over to our What's On page, there's the programme on there, and there's a link to buy tickets on that page as well, and it's £10 for adults and £5 for children.
That's wonderful, and a very reasonably priced too, for a wonderful evening.
Yeah.
And I have to touch on this because Japan has a 7-star railway.
Yes, my hometown. Yes, in Kyushu Island. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It is a beautifully produced, handcrafted train. At present, there is a section called Japan International Tourism Organization. They have a lot of information. You can go on website for 7-star train, and this will be going around Kyushu Island, showing the landscape and different town, and special service by Japanese people.
You have to see this, even if it's only the pictures. If we can't go to Japan, I mean, why should we miss out on the beauty of Japan? And the pictures are absolutely amazing. And to think it's all handcrafted, and it's not a miniature train, by the way. It is. You can buy tickets and you can travel, but not at the festival. At the festival, we're having much more things that are tangible that we can hold, or we can see, or that we can experience. So that's the wonderful idea behind the Festival of Japan. And is this going to be annually?
And we will certainly be running it again, but actually for next year we're going to be focusing on the Egyptian collection, because it will be the centenary of the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, so it's a big year for Egypt next year.
Well, we here at NTV want to promote as much as we can with regards to obviously different cultures and different venues such as Chuddingston Castle, which is has really put itself out there to open its arms and allow other festivals to take part in its grounds. That should be wonderful. By the way, just to let you know that when you do visit, you won't be hungry. There will be stalls, there will be food, vegetarian food, but is there a picnic area?
Yeah, you can have a picnic anywhere, by the lake, anywhere you choose.
There you go, it's got a lake and it has a picnic area, so you're very welcome to bring your own food. I know that because I know myself that if I'm coming with a group, it's always good to bring your own grub. But that's not to say you shouldn't take in the delights of the food that's on offer also. Once again, Sachiko, if you were to put everything in a kind of a nutshell, and you said to yourself, well, you know what does the Japanese festival mean to you as as a person of Japanese origin? Obviously, you're proud of that, and that you've learned a lot about your customs and everything. But what is it? For you, what is the essence of Japanese tradition?
Well, we all love Japanese tradition, unless we put our effort in to learn and also promote it. It will disappear. So this is a great opportunity for Japanese as well as non-Japanese people to enjoy the Japanese traditional and the culture.
Yes, absolutely, very well said. I think that's that is something that I think that is something that we can all ponder on, because if we don't hold tight to our traditions or our cultures, or if we're not willing to remember them or uphold them, they do disappear. What you don't use, you lose. And I think that's a traditional saying. If it's not, it should be. But Naomi, please, in the last few minutes of our program, please give us a little bit about Chuddingston Castle and what the events you are going to hold, and what you feel has been the most worthwhile of holding the Japan Festival.
Yeah, I think that the main thing to say really is that the Japan Festival is a celebration of Japanese culture, as well as our amazing Japanese collection in the Japanese room, but also of the Tokyo Olympics. So originally we were going to hold this event last year, but obviously it had to be postponed. So now's the time that everyone's really interested in Japan, and seeing as we can't really travel this year so much, we can't go to Japan ourselves, people can come to the castle and experience Japan, in an English countryside setting. So it's going to be a really interesting and surprising combination, I think.
Well, as they say, there's an opportunity there for everyone, and staycation opportunities, as it were, has been tripled, quadrupled in this summer. But here's an opportunity. Please, viewers, if you are looking for somewhere to take your children over the bank holiday that's not too far away from home, or if you are a bit far away from home, still do stay tuned, because we will be coming to you live from Chuddingston Castle next Sunday on the 29th. So, and it's open again 11 till 5 p.m. And admissions is via the website. Can you buy on the day?
Yeah, you can buy on the day.
So yes, don't worry if you're unable to book, then you can come on the day. And admissions are not very expensive. I think £10 per adult and £5 per child. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity to learn more and gain some knowledge and experience of the Japanese culture and festivals. And just one last word from you, Naomi, and from you, Sachiko. Sachiko, a last word from you before we end our program.
Well, looking forward to seeing you, and I would love to show you Japanese culture to you.
That's wonderful. And Naomi?
Yes, we're really looking forward to welcoming you on the day and sharing the collection and Japanese culture and just celebrating it on the 29th. So yeah, looking forward to it.
So of course, given that this program has been lent over to the Japanese festival and celebration not only of the relationship between Japan and Bangladesh, but also how we should, as a nation, understand our friends. And the Japanese have always been our friends, so it's a great opportunity for anybody to come and support the festival. Do come along, bring your family, and have an enjoyable bank holiday, and see the sights. And I can't wait for the drums and the swords and martial arts and obviously the kimono. The calligraphy, of course. Oh my gosh, I can't get enough of all of it. So do join us. I'm really excited. So next weekend we will be at the castle and giving you some live updates. So thank you very much for joining me on the show, and Sachiko and Naomi. It's been wonderful to have you here and to share with us what delights are going to be available and what we can do. I do hope that this will go on, whether every year at Chuddingston or whether or not it's at any other area. But we will keep informed, and we will keep everyone updated. So please do keep an eye on the website. And is there a website for the festival itself, Sachiko?
Well, it is within the website of Chuddingston Castle.
Okay. So everything's on. If you need to know more about when the acts are on, then please do look. I want to say thank you very much once again, and thank you for joining me on my program, and I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you, and Assalamu alaikum.